चेंज, बदलाव हम सभी को पसंद है, मगर लाना मुश्किल लगता है. This is something that we all feel we want to bring about, but to actually act on bringing this change happen in your life, that seems difficult. If you'd like to learn about the same, then you are absolutely at the right place. This is Dr. GopikaKumar, your communication and mindset coach. Let's get started with this right here. Let's change something. It's become too boring. It's become too monotonous. It's, seeming to become like, a routine affair. It's not bringing any excitement. Relatable feelings, right? At any point in time, when we end up getting into that rut of routine, boredom and monotony sets in. It could be as simple as drinking the same glass of juice in the morning, to having the same breakfast, as a part of your morning routine, meeting up the same set of people when you go to work. Once you come back from work, doing the same set of routine on watching your television or watching your set of programs on Netflix and Amazon. Over the weekends, meeting up, socially, personally, and, your friends in your social circle, and doing that over and over again. Any cycle that gets repeated, you're getting into that state where it's becoming monotonous. And there's a very beautiful fact about change that I'd like to share with you all. We all want to bring about a change, but we hardly do much of an effort to bring that change, to let that actually become a reality. True? If you relate with this, you'll consider taking up situations like these. So, I constantly tell myself, I want to bring about a change and become more healthy. I'm going to start going in for a walk. I'm going to make that as a daily habit so that I can achieve my goal of being able to lead a healthy lifestyle. I want to bring about that change, but acting upon it, suddenly what happens? My act of procrastination steps in. Suddenly what happens? I'm feeling that I don't want to do it. Where will I go? Which area am I going to walk on? How long am I going to do it? And it's not going to be a comfort zone at all. And we start getting into that zone that I would like to, but I'm not able to. That act of procrastination, pushing those tasks way ahead, just starts creeping in more and more and more. Now, how do we get out of this? And in the first instance, even before we learn to get out of it, I want to talk about that. Why does it happen? Why do we get into that vicious circle कि करना चाहते हैं but कर नहीं पाते? Now here is something that we studied as a very, very clear concept that you're truly going to be able to relate with. Now imagine your brain, divided completely into two clear sections, as one part of the brain which has a very strong network, very strong neural connections, and the other side of the brain does not have as strong, and it has a weak network. Now what do these two mean? The one with a strong network means that if I'm comfortable doing something, although it's become monotonous, although it's become boring, if I am driving to the same place of work, I know how to do it. I know how to begin and I know how it's going to end. That network in one part of my brain has become so strong that it's almost following a nature of automated. I don't even think about before much doing the same act, because it's become a part of me. It's become like a ritual. It's become like a habit. And now because it's become a habit, I'm starting to get bored out of it. But you realize it's become a strong, familiar network. Your neurons are working effortlessly. You're not really having to stress much about it. You're not having to really think about the same. It's just flowing through it ceaselessly. And because it's a comfort zone now, you're starting to feel कि कुछ effort नहीं हो रहा है, is where we start to feel the monotony. Now imagine the same aspect. I ask you to change your job. I ask you to apply to a new place. And the moment you start thinking about these, which means I'm going to be starting to use my neurons, my cells, first looking for, applying, and then the entire process where my brain cells are being used because it's something which is really, really new. That's a network in my side of the brain which is weak because I do not know what to expect. How far will be the work? What will be the work profile? How long will be the working hours? Who are going to be my colleagues? Who is going to be my boss? How familiar is that environment going to be? Am I going to be comfortable working in that environment or not? And so on and so forth. Many such questions start cropping up in your mind. You know why? Because here is where we refer to as the weak network. This concept is referred to as the concept of familiarity. The more familiar you are to what you're doing is building up a strong network, and the more unfamiliar you are, it's a weak network. And the game is being played accordingly. Wherever there's a strong network, you're repeating it. Wherever there's a weak network, there is procrastination. There is that delay. There is that act of karna chahiye, nahi karna chahiye, karna hai. I want to bring that change, but that doesn't really happen because it calls for you to come out of your comfort zone and then be able to do it. So how do we come out of this then, Gopika? Let's really talk about this. How do we come out of this syndrome where I'm getting fixated into the act of familiarity? Because I do not know that park, will I not go and walk? Because I do not know that new place of work, will I not apply? If I do not know, a new life partner that I'm looking out for, am I not going to make that move? Just because I'm not familiar with it? Here is where we're going to talk about bringing this into your life through what we call as exposure therapy. Now, if the sound, if this entire phrase and this word sounds interesting to you, we refer to this as exposing you to the unfamiliar, to your weak network, remember, slowly and gradually, slowly and gradually. Now imagine doing the same exercise, the same example. I need to go out for a walk, but I'm not able to do it at 6 a.m. in the morning because I do not know how far will the drive be. I do not know how long is the pathway. I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable, and so on and so forth. Exposure therapy, can I do it other than the time that I don't have to walk also? Can I be around in that surrounding? I'm sure it's somewhere near to your house, so that you're able to expose yourself, not with the entire task in one go, but with bits and pieces of it, so that your familiarity network, your neurons and your cells in your mind start to become stronger. The more familiar you are what you're going to be coming out and doing now, the more possibility of you leaving your comfort zone, the more possibility of you bringing about that change that you had always wished to, which means exposing that to you in bits and pieces. Let's talk about another situation and an example. Let's say I need to learn to drive. And that's a big change, right? I want to learn to drive, but I've been pushing that way forward and I haven't been able to learn yet. How do we break this cycle? Because I am not familiar with driving, I don't know the skill set, is where we are going to bring in the concept of exposure therapy. Can we just for one single day sit down on the driver's seat and just be able to switch on the engine of the car along with somebody, and the next day expose yourself to just turning the steering wheel and learning, the accelerator and the brake and the clutch, not moving the car yet. And the third day, maybe just taking one small little drift from your house down to your neighbor's lane. One small little drift. And the next step, to take it down into your neighborhood. And the next shift, to take it down to the first main road that you approach. And to take it to the highway. slowly and gradually with a partner, slowly and gradually without a partner, slowly and gradually from 10 minutes to 60 minutes, from 60 minutes to 2 hours. Exposure therapy coming to you to make you familiar, not all of it together, but coming to you slowly and gradually. So that the change that you actually want to bring in can only come in the more familiar you are, the more comfortable you're going to be. The more comfortable you are, the more easier it is to pull you out from your procrastination and put you into that, that action zone where you're actually able to do what you always wanted to do, which is to bring about a change. So now, without further ado, go about and bring a change in an area of life that you've always wanted to. And do share your experience with me below this video. Remember that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share it with anybody who deserves to listen to this today. Until then, this is Dr. Gopika Kumar signing off.